Hello, this is Prince Insomnia, and welcome back to more Let's Play Dragon Quest XI's. Last time, we finally wrapped up things here in Octagonia, took care of the kidnappings going on underneath the fighter arena and whatnot, and just as we were about to receive the grand prize from the tournament, we found out that Rab stole it and ran off to Dundrasil. This time, we're going to take care of a couple of quests before heading off to Dundrasil. Starting with this one. Skincare for the Fierce and Fabulous. This is, it's asking us to get a item from a sparkly spot in an area we'll be going to in the near future, in the Dundrasil region, but not quite yet. So that's just going to be there for that. I have to remember to go pick up that sparkly spot before I forget. The other quest we could pick up now that we've wrapped up things here in Octagonia is near the orphanage. This will happen from time to time where there are certain quests that you can't do until the city's big problem has been resolved, as opposed to some quests which you can just do from the start. So be sure to remember to kind of look back through the town once you've finished everything there is. This quest, the Shadow, we can actually do right now because everything we need for it is here in Octagonia. Anyway, Zero the Shadow is over here. Alright. Easy as pie. Now we can just take it back to that boy and collect our reward, which is a single mini-medal. I'll just do that off screen. We don't need to see that. I'll meet you outside of Octagonia. Let's make our way out of here and head to where we need to go. And by where we need to go, I of course mean towards Dundrasil. This is in fact the Dundrasil region, so should be around here somewhere. So, way back earlier when we were first heading towards Octagonia, I made mention of the fact that the passageway this way was somewhere we'd be going later. Well, now it's later, so let's go there. Let's see. There's a few things we could pick up here treasure-wise. The path just split off there. Going the north path leads to a silver ore, but I don't particularly care because we can just buy those. Kind of. Oh man, if this was a PS4 exclusive action-adventure game, TM, we'd be able to hide in that tall grass. But this is the Switch version, or more accurately, the definitive edition, according to what I've seen, lately. Since apparently, oh, also I was wrong, this is where the silver ore is. But anyway, like I was trying to say, apparently the definitive edition, this version of the game, is coming to all platforms by the end of 2020. Assuming that this episode is releasing in 2020, that's pretty cool. If it's not releasing in 2020, then I hope you're having fun playing the definitive edition on the PlayStation or Xbox or whatever. I can't imagine it being anything less than, like, a direct port of the Switch version, in which case I could kind of expect it to not be maybe quite so, graphically impressive, technically, as the original version, but there's just so much more that the Definitive Edition provides that I think it's totally worthwhile. Like, the music is just so much better. There's new content in this version of the game that I don't even think we've reached yet. All sorts of things like that. So far as I'm aware, the only thing that we're missing that was in the original is the Crossbow Kid side quest, and I don't think that's much of a detriment. But what is a bit of a detriment are these guys! A couple of new enemies here. Let's see. Mushroom Mages, they can cast Crackle, which hits multiple targets, and it can cast mid-heal on either itself or another monster. The other guys, the Knight Errant, let's see. They can cast Fizzle to block your spell casting. I kinda want this Mushroom Mage gone, so I'm just gonna execute it with maximum prejudice. Oh, nice. I was reading up a little bit, cause we're almost caught up to where, well, we had almost caught up to where my notes were. I've since kind of gone through and done more research to keep my notes ahead of where I am in the recordings. But, yeah, we're gonna need that Hornite. I did see a lot of arguments for having Sylvando also do knives, and they were mostly just because it would help Eric out with applying status effects, because he could also do stuff like Sleeper Hit. That wasn't the Hornite. No, that was not the Hornite.
Wins again.
Ooh, and we learned Sizzle from that. Neat. I'll use the skill points later. Let's actually get the Golden Hornite. But yeah, like I was saying, there is an argument for having Sylvando go down the knife path. Pretty much just because he can help Eric out with applying status ailments. And I could see that being really valuable. I just don't know if I want that over whips. I kind of want people to use like more unique wow. No, if I say that, that's kind of a lie, isn't it? Because there's going to be some overlap eventually. But I don't know. I've never used knives on Sylvando, so maybe it'll help out. It's not like Sylvando's here for attacking. He's here to support people. And having him help out with Eric's DPS would be nice, because Eric can do a lot of damage with the right setup. He just has to set up first. And that's part of the problem. The setup is actually kind of rough for him.
And don't come back.
If you hear rumbling in the background, they're renovating the elevators in my building, and I live right next to the elevators. There's nothing I can do. Stop talking. There's nothing I could do about that, and I'm so sorry. But this is a thing that's just going to happen for the next 6 to 8 months worth of recording, which could be almost no videos at all, or it could be like multiple series. I genuinely have no clue. My schedule is inconsistent. There's probably something I could do for noise suppression on the back end or editing end, but like I don't know. The Chilean Sovereign, those sell for a lot of money, so we could probably make good use of that when we're trying to upgrade our gear in the next town. But yeah, that's what I was thinking of. I'm trying to, like, there are some character builds that I just like more than others. Like, I just generally like swords more than great swords, because I enjoy having the defensive options of the shield, and like the elemental protection that some of them offer is just so important later in the game that I'm more fond of it. But for other characters where I was kind of just like moderately okay with how they performed in my first playthrough, I'm kind of experimenting a little bit more with what they could do, just to see what I could get out of them. It's like, I didn't do much with Eric the first time I played this game, and I feel like I kind of did him a disservice, because he can do so much damage, more than just about any other character. It's just it requires setup, and I kind of want to play with that. Whereas with, like, Sylvando, I used him all the time because of Hustle Dance, but I never really, like, did anything great with his weapons. I tried to take him down. We don't need to go that way. I tried to take him down the path of using swords, and it just wasn't that effective. He just couldn't do as well as, like, the hero could with swords and things like that. So that's why I'm kind of trying out on whips or something like that, because they could be useful support. And they could hit a group of enemies, which is useful in multi-targeting scenarios. But I could see knives being more useful in boss fights if you pair him off with Eric. Anyway, we could get the campsite from Dundrasil as a zoom point right here, so I'm just going to rest until dawn. And then we'll kind of just be on our way from there. There's also a weather cow. Let's see. Neat. If I had gotten all the weather cows, I think... No, I don't think that's the last one, but I think it's close to the last one. I also almost forgot there was a sparkly spot that I was supposed to gather over this way. Let's see. There it is. Melovera. Since we got the Dundrasil campsite, it actually works out, and I'm secretly a genius and not just doing things accidentally. We can now zoom back to Octagonia. Yeah, Dundrasil campsite. Yeah, so now we can zoom back to Octagonia and then zoom right back here after we turn in our quest reward. So that's nifty. Yeah, the reward for this quest is a recipe book, the Dapper Chap, which lets us make dapper doublets and natty cravats. No idea what those do. I feel like those help boost the style, or not the style, charm? I think it's charm in this game. Basically the same thing, but yeah, whatever. I think it helps boost that, but I'm not sure if it's super great on defense. I don't think I mentioned this before, and if I have, then just forgive me, but the charm stat, among other things, like boosting certain party members' abilities, it also can cause certain enemies to be stunned in battle because they're enraptured by your overflowing charm. This happened in a fight that I think I might have cut out. Serena did this to someone because she had like the dancer's costume on that boosted her charm into the atmosphere. Things like that. It works like Style did back in 6. In almost the same way, except it also helps boost like actual abilities. Anyway, speaking of enemies, these guys are Raven Lunatics. Get it? These guys can cast Accelerate on single targets, or they can shout and cause you to lose a turn, but they're not too deadly. They're bird type enemies, so they don't usually have that much HP, but you know, here we are. I'm not worried about Accelerate.
Let's heat things up.
Ooh, wow. He died instantly from that sizzle. Or frizzle, rather. Let's see. We're gonna explore a little bit, or a lot of it in this episode, just because there are actually a surprisingly large amount of treasures we can collect in the Dundrasil region. Like actual treasures for once, instead of just, like, crafting mats and whatnot. I mean, don't get me wrong, the mats are great and all, it's just, treasure is also treasure. There might be something specific I have to do with this. We hop up this way. Haha! There we go. Now we can climb up here. And there's a treasure chest to reward us for exploring, containing a bandit blade, which I think is a new weapon for the hero. Yes, but it's not as good as the steel broadsword +2. It's probably also like a sword that Eric can use really well, but I have him on knives and I'm gonna keep him on knives. I was thinking about doing something specific with swords, like a specific sword later on down the line for Eric, but I've kind of, since doing a little more research and just looking at things like the subreddit and whatnot, I've kind of just decided that I'm going to keep him on knives and use knife skills for the rest of the time. We're still going to have to go through the sword path because there's an important skill for us that applies to all of Eric's weapons if we go down that path, but I'm going to keep him on knives for the most part after we finish getting Divide. Let's see. There should be a treasure chest somewhere around here. In here, perhaps? No. No. Maybe inside this building. No, but there is something around back. An urn of royal soil. How do you make soil royal anyway? You know what it is? I'm too far north. It's actually more to the south for this treasure. Yeah, that's right. The map's just a touch confusing. There's a Rod of Rapidity in here, so if you didn't buy it earlier, now you can just get it for free. I, once again, am a total genius. I think you can use this to cast, Accelerate on yourself, if you really want to, but it's also just a straight-up upgrade for heavy wands. So, that's pretty nice. Let's see. More treasure! More! Here's another one over by the ruins over here. This place must have been really big, like a really huge kingdom. Actually, let's fight these guys, because these guys are new. These guys are orcs. They have the spear skill multi-thrust, which can hit 3 random targets. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean the same person is going to be hit 3 times. It means that they're going to thrust 3 times, and it could hit someone different each time. That could be the same person each time. You don't know. That's actually a spear skill that a lot of spear users like Serena can, well, our only spear user, Serena, can use. It's actually pretty useful in single target scenarios, like with bosses, because the only target you can hit is the boss. And so you just hit them 3 times. Yeah, Persicutor is real good. There's actually a different path that you could take Eric on, in terms of... I see. You could take Eric on a different path on his knife tree to get another ability that is like Sleeper Hit plus Persicutor, except it works with poison. So there's a Cobra Strike which can poison, and then another ability which does 6 sextuple damage against a poisoned or paralyzed target, which actually would really pair off really well with the Butterfly Knife. But in general, I think Sleeper Hit Persicutor is just like slightly better. Entirely because Sleeper Hit puts enemies to sleep, which causes them to lose turns, whereas the poison doesn't. That's the word I was looking for there. That's it, though. That's the only reason why I would suggest that. Another adjustment I want to make is to fight this new enemy, but also to suggest that you actually hold off on using your seeds entirely until a certain point in the game. I'm not going to say why because it's a spoiler, but just keep that in mind. I think these guys are Sump Grumps, yes. They can cast Snooze to put you to sleep. But other than that, there's not much they can really do to you. Yeah, they died real quick. We're a touch strong for this area because of the little additional grinding I did to help us out against the Arachnagon. Which makes sense. I would expect a boss to be slightly stronger than the enemies around it. Or significantly stronger. Anyway. If we run into any other enemies, I'll fight them. But I don't think we're going to run into anything new. But we are going to run into this little building over here. And more importantly, the treasure it's hiding. Let's see. We can either... I think we can go around. There's a statue over there, goddess statue, if you want to save, but there's also the campsite, which you can teleport to. This is a little cabin over here. I wonder if there's anyone inside. Nope, it doesn't look like it. Can't even rest here. I don't know what this cabin's for. Seriously, I don't know what this cabin's for. Actually, it might... I might know what this cabin's for. Maybe. But anyway, enough screwing around. Let's head off to the ruins of Dundrasil. I just remembered there actually is a new enemy that we could find here. A very strong new enemy, in fact. Smile. But I think that covers all of the important treasure. Well, actually, there's a Dracilian shilling in one of these buildings, so maybe that's a little important for money's sake. I think I'm in the wrong building for the shilling. There it is. Money. Yeah, if you were wondering what those Dracilian coins were from, it's Dundrasil. It sounds obvious when I say it out loud, but yeah. This is the ruins of Dundrasil. Let's see. You want to be kind of careful in this area. Wow, there's a loading zone here.
Man. So this is Dundrasil. I'd heard the rumors about what happened here, but still, I never expected this. To think that not so very long ago, this was one of the world's great cities, and that it was reduced to rubble in a single night. The king and queen murdered by monsters. The princess of Heliodor, too. The poor thing was only visiting. Oh, but I don't need to tell you this. They were your parents, after all.
So where's the old guy from the tournament, anyway? And why'd he drag us all the way out here?
Look! Those torches are lit! He must be in there somewhere, waiting for us.
Yeah, like I said, some really tough enemies. But anyway, if you recall from way back in the beginning of the game, like literally the first thing you see when you boot up a new game, there was a little town that was celebrating something, as well as a meeting full of like kings and queens and whatnot, in some sort of a tower wherein the luminary was born. That was Dundrasil, and this is where we are now. So we actually did get to see what happened to that city. Anyway, speaking of terrible things, this is a green dragon! This is probably the strongest enemy we could find around here, and these guys are hard! They attack twice per turn, and they have a fierce fire breath that they can use against you. It might not be a terrible idea to bring in Serena for this, just because of how her Hymn of Fire can help protect you. But we're going to roll with what we have now. And since it's a Dragon-type enemy, Dragon Slash is obviously going to be really good against it. Man, can you imagine just walking up to a green dragon like this and taking it on like it's nothing? See, back in the day, in Dragon Quest II, it was, getting ambushed by like 4 of these guys in the last dungeon could literally kill you without you getting a chance to do anything about it. It was that brutal. But fortunately, I don't think these guys are as hard now as they were back then. You just kind of have to be a little smart about things.
Oh yeah.
They're not free kills, you do have to expend resources to beat them, but they're pretty alright. Boulderbringer, huh? I'm guessing that's like Rubble Rouser, but stronger. Here's another thing that I've learned from doing a little more research into this game before starting this LP. I was mad sleeping on Scorched Earth. Holy shit. I'm so glad that I learned to use Scorched Earth during the course of this Let's Play. That's a trick I've never really done before, because I usually didn't use a lot of pet powers when I was playing this game for the first time, and whew, boy. There are some real strong ones. They're a little bit like dual and triple techs from Chrono Trigger, in which they're not always worth the sum of their parts, but some of them are worth more than the sum of their parts, like Scorched Earth is. Being able to do like 80 damage every time an enemy just tries to take their turn, that's pretty strong. Not as strong as this mini-metal, but pretty strong. Actually, probably is stronger than this mini-metal, now that I think about it. But yeah. The green dragons actually give good XP, so I would recommend fighting them. This is also an area where metal slimes are slightly more likely to appear than the Dundrasil area. I fought them with green dragons before. Not saying that we necessarily need to grind against the green dragons, but I'm just saying that if you want to do so, we can. We actually managed to put it to sleep that time, so I'm going to hit it with spells. Ah, not that much damage, huh?
Stay strong, my loves!
I'm guessing it resists fire
Oh, cool it.
by like a lot. Yeah, because Crack did pretty decent damage. Yeah, speaking of Rubble Rouser, but... Or, not Rubble Rouser, the other move. Scorched Earth. But, no, we're going to use Persicutter. It killed it instantly. He was an entire dragon and he just executed it. It died so quickly, like a fart's sheet in the wind. I don't even know where that phrase came from. Don't even ask. Don't even ask. There is no acceptable answer for the nonsense that just spewed out of my mouth. Let's see. We're gonna have to do a touch of parkour to get the treasure that's up there, but it is possible. You just have to platform in an RPG. That always ends well. Alright. Just a little spoiler, one of these is not what it seems. That one had like a little reddish glow. This one's fine though. This one's a dragon scale, which is actually an accessory despite the name. Which you probably could equip on like the hero or something like that. I've been looking for something to replace this gold chain so we can hand it down. Let's see. A little worse on HP and charm, but not that much worse. I think it's worth it. And then we can hand down this gold chain to someone who needs it. Like maybe you? It's actually worse for you. Okay, well, that's fair. Now let's fight the cannon box. We get a seed of skill out of that cannon box for defeating it though. Unfortunately we got particularly unlucky and Eric died, which is infuriating. I hate cannon boxes. Is that all the treasure I really care about here? Yes, it is. Alrighty. So, anyway, we can continue on with this area by going into this little well over here, and this slime will actually tell you about that. Yeah. But we'll deal with that in the next episode of Let's Play Dragon Quest XI's. See you guys then.